Washington Pod presents EARL Nightingale.
I came across an interesting idea while reading in my office today. See what you think of it. What we have come to call the counterculture is actually an interlocking net of ideas for alternative living, different in crucial ways from the traditional middle class, and yet reflecting characteristically traditional aspirations. And this counterculture's progressively greater impact becomes a powerful motor for social change. Now, what it means is that the great changes in ideas of what constitutes a meaningful life are not so much an attempt to pull down the old traditional ways of living, but rather they are alternatives. They're experiments in alternatives, designed to find new and better ways of living in a more enlightened age. The key term today is alternatives, meaning articulated options beyond the realm of current practice. The younger people, often called the counterculture, are aware that the world they find themselves in today isn't going to win many prizes in the happiness and joy departments. It's a curious thing, but people were much happier in this country back in the 30s and 40s, even the 50s, than they seem to be today. Affluence has brought with it a pervasive dissatisfaction and irritability that didn't used to exist. Having more of the things they thought they wanted has not made people noticeably kinder, more unselfish, nor more cheerful than they used to be. In former days, it seemed as though everybody knew what he wanted. He knew what was important, what the priorities were, at least in his own life. Today, people appear to be rootless, drifting, aimless. They want more, but they don't seem willing to do more. Now, I'm not saying that all the ideas coming from the younger generation are good, but neither are they all bad just because they come from people under 25 or 30. The quotation I used earlier is from an interesting essay entitled Alternative Thinking by Richard Castellanos, which appeared in The Humanist and was adopted from his book Human Alternatives, published by Morrow. We will all certainly agree, I think, that we need some alternatives to war as a way of life, or rather death. We need alternatives to the carnage on the highway, to the choked ghettos of our city, to increasing pollution. You know, to Buckminster Fuller, pollution is nothing more than resources we're not harvesting. And I have agreed for years that the more reasonable solutions for pollution today involve not less technology, but more, regardless of added expense. It's impossible to turn back the clock, as well as undesirable. What is needed is to turn it forward, to find a human second wind, freedom from some of the threatening forces with which we're faced today, and a renewal of interest, even excitement, with regard to man and his future. I'm delighted that we have this so-called counterculture coming up with alternative ideas for a more meaningful kind of living. It's as ridiculous and stupid for older people to attempt to disregard the ideas of those under 25 as it is for those under 25 to disregard the ideas and solid accomplishments of those over 30.